Listen carefully. The world is not built for the weak. It does not bend to the timid, nor does it have mercy for those who hesitate. Life is a battlefield disguised as order, and those who fail to see that truth are destined to be trampled underfoot. The truth is simple. Only those willing to master themselves, to sharpen their instincts and embrace discomfort, will rise. Machiavelli understood what most men ignore. Power is not handed out like charity. It is seized, guarded, and wielded without apology. Respect cannot be requested. It cannot be begged for. It must be engineered, crafted through discipline, built through struggle, and enforced through unshakable presence. You must become a weapon, not a reckless blade swinging wildly, but a blade honed, cold, precise, and undeniable. Do not fear envy. Do not fear hatred. Those emotions are the smoke that rises when others are burned by your fire. Let their resentment feed your clarity. You are here because something inside you already knows this truth. You are not here to survive. You are here to dominate. Now, prove you're listening. Comment below. Power bows to preparation. 2. Control of self before control of others. Before you can command men, you must first conquer yourself. Weak men attempt to lead while they are still enslaved by their impulses, by hunger, lust, fear, and pride. They collapse the moment pressure is applied. Do not be that man. Mastery begins within. Machiavelli taught that a ruler who cannot control his own nature is easily manipulated. The same applies to you. If your emotions can be provoked, your enemies own you. If your desires can be exploited, you are already defeated. Control your reactions, and you strip the world of its power to wound you. The man who commands himself becomes unpredictable, dangerous. He cannot be baited into foolish battles, nor seduced into traps disguised as pleasure. His silence unnerves. His restraint terrifies. His presence demands respect without ever needing to shout. This is the first principle. Before you attempt to bend the world, bend yourself. Break the laziness, break the weakness, break the excuses. Discipline your body, sharpen your mind, harden your spirit. Only then will others sense the weight of your authority. The strongest version of yourself begins with this question. Can you sit alone in silence and not be consumed by your own chaos? If not, your empire is already crumbling before it's even built. Comment below, I rule myself before I rule the world. Write it and let it sink into your bones. 3. Ruthless clarity of purpose. A man without purpose is already dead. He may breathe, he may speak, but he drifts like a corpse carried by the current. The world consumes men like that. They become pawns, filler in someone else's story. If you wish to rise, you must kill the disease of aimlessness and replace it with ruthless clarity of purpose. Machiavelli understood that power belongs to the man who moves with intention. Every action, every word, every silence must serve your design. You cannot afford to live casually. Casual living breeds weakness. Purpose breeds inevitability. Ask yourself, what empire are you building? Not tomorrow, not someday, but now. Your purpose is the spine of your existence. Without it, you fold. With it, you stand unshakable. Most men chase distractions, cheap pleasures, fleeting validation, the approval of people who don't matter. But the strong man knows these are traps. He walks past them with cold indifference because he sees further. He moves with focus. Clarity of purpose makes you dangerous. Why? Because the man with purpose cannot be bribed, cannot be seduced, cannot be broken by trivial obstacles. He will outlast those who are softer, those who bend. He knows his direction, and that certainty alone terrifies his rivals. When you lock onto your purpose, cut away everything else, detach from the opinions of sheep, detach from the need to explain yourself, your results will speak louder than arguments. The man of purpose does not announce, he executes. And when the world sees the aftermath of his execution, they call it destiny. Remember, without clarity, you will serve another man's mission. With clarity, men will unknowingly serve yours. Comment below right now. My purpose makes me untouchable. Burn those words into your mind. 4. Power in perception and deception. Power is not only about strength, it is about perception. The world does not reward the most moral, it rewards the most strategic. What people believe about you can be more important than what is true. Machiavelli said it clearly. It is not necessary to be good, only to appear so when it benefits you. This is where most men fail. They believe the raw truth is enough. It is not. The truth is a weapon, but so is illusion. You must learn to master both. The man who controls perception controls the battlefield before the first blow is even struck. Understand this. Deception is not always a lie. Sometimes it is a mask, a silence, a calculated gesture that hides your intent. The strong man does not reveal everything he thinks. He does not advertise his moves. He lets others assume. And when they assume wrong, he wins without lifting a finger. Perception builds fear, admiration, or loyalty. Choose which mask to wear depending on what serves your mission. Among allies, appear reliable, disciplined, and unshakable. Among rivals, appear colder, more dangerous, more difficult to read. Let them question what you're capable of. Let them overestimate you. That is to your advantage. Deception is not cruelty. It is survival. The world is filled with predators and parasites. If you walk with honesty alone, you will be bled dry. But if you blend truth with strategy, honesty with manipulation, you become untouchable. You decide what others see while keeping your true power hidden beneath the surface. Think of the serpent. It does not need to strike constantly. It only needs others to believe the strike is always possible. That belief creates hesitation. Hesitation creates openings. Openings create victory. Never forget, what they see is more dangerous than what you actually are. Control perception, and you control outcomes. Master deception, and you play the game on your terms. Now prove you understand. Comment below. I am the mask and the power behind it. Show me that you grasp this principle. 5. The discipline of isolation and selective alliance. Powerful men are not made in crowds. They are forged in silence, in solitude, away from the noise of mediocrity. Isolation is not weakness, it is discipline. Most men fear being alone because they are haunted by their own emptiness. But the man who seeks greatness embraces isolation as a crucible. It is where he sharpens his mind, where he confronts his demons, where he learns to need nothing and no one. Machiavelli warned rulers to choose allies carefully, for the wrong alliance is more dangerous than an open enemy. The same principle applies to your life. Not everyone deserves access to your mind, your time, or your energy. Every connection is either sharpening your blade or dulling it. Do not confuse companionship with loyalty. Do not confuse noise with value. Isolation teaches clarity. It strips away false voices, false needs, false influences. In solitude, you see the world for what it is, a battlefield where trust is currency and most are bankrupt. But from this position of strength, you can then choose alliances strategically. You do not collect people, you select them. Each ally must serve a function, a purpose aligned with your greater mission. Weak men create alliances based on comfort. Strong men create alliances based on power. The parasite seeks to drain you. The ally seeks to build with you. The parasite whispers comfort. The ally demands growth. Learn to distinguish between the two, or pay the price of betrayal. Do not fear isolation. Fear instead the crowd that blinds you, that tempts you to dilute your edge. When you are alone, you cannot be deceived. When you are alone, you cannot be betrayed. And when you are alone, you harden into someone who can walk into any alliance by choice, not by need. This is the discipline. Spend enough time in solitude that you no longer crave constant company. Build yourself until even in silence you feel unstoppable. Then, when you choose to ally, you do so from a position of power, not desperation. Understand this. Selective alliances can move empires, but reckless alliances will bury them. Guard your circle with the same intensity you guard your ambition. So I ask you, who stands beside you? Who drains you? Who sharpens you? If the answers are not clear, you are not yet ruthless enough. Comment this phrase: alone I sharpen, with allies I conquer. Write it and remember it. 6. The calculated use of fear and respect. Every man craves to be loved. That craving is weakness. Love is unpredictable, unstable, and often fleeting. Fear, however, is consistent. Respect, when earned properly, endures. Machiavelli asked a question centuries ago that remains brutal in its honesty. Is it better to be loved or feared? His answer: if you cannot be both, it is safer to be feared. Understand this truth. Respect without strength is hollow. Love without power is fragile. To command fear and respect together is the highest form of authority. But this must be calculated. Fear without respect becomes hatred. Respect without the possibility of fear becomes contempt. You must balance the two like a blade on a razor's edge. The weak man tries to please everyone. He bends, he apologizes, he gives more than he takes, hoping for approval. In the end, he is neither feared nor respected. He is dismissed. The strong man does not beg for affection. He embodies discipline, self-control, and an aura of consequence. Others respect him not only for what he does, but for what he is capable of doing if crossed. Fear is a weapon, but it must be wielded with precision. If you strike unnecessarily, you waste your influence. If you threaten constantly, you dull the edge of your power. The wise man rarely needs to demonstrate force because the possibility of it is enough. Think of the storm cloud. It does not need to strike every moment. Its presence alone changes the atmosphere. Respect is built on consistency. Keep your word, not out of kindness, but out of strength. Show discipline when others indulge. Show silence when others gossip. Show results when others make excuses. Respect grows from visible control over yourself and over your environment. To command both fear and respect, you must train your presence. Walk with purpose, speak with precision, hold your posture like a man who cannot be broken. People respond not just to what you say, but to what your very existence implies. And when you must enforce consequences, do so without hesitation. Mercy, when misplaced, breeds rebellion. Be just, but be firm. Show that your tolerance has limits, and when those limits are crossed, punishment is certain. People respect what they cannot manipulate. They fear what they cannot predict. They obey what they cannot defeat. Remember this: you do not need to be loved. You need to be obeyed. You need to be respected. And above all, you need to be remembered as someone who could not be trifled with. Comment below: I balance fear and respect with precision. Etch that into your mind. This balance is the very foundation of untouchable power. 7. Mastery of emotional detachment. Emotions are the strings that make men dance. Rage, lust, envy, fear. Most are nothing but puppets, pulled into predictable patterns by their own lack of control. That is why they fail. That is why they are broken before they even realize the game has begun. If you wish to become untouchable, you must sever those strings. You must master emotional detachment. This does not mean you feel nothing. It means your emotions never own you. They never dictate your actions. They never betray your strategy. Machiavelli understood this deeply. A ruler swayed by emotions is not a ruler. He is a servant to impulse and therefore vulnerable. His enemies need only spark his anger or feed his pride to lead him into ruin. But the man who stands above his emotions is untouchable. He can feel rage without recklessness, desire without desperation, grief without collapse. Understand this. Emotional detachment is not cold indifference. It is controlled fire. You decide when to unleash it, when to suppress it, and when to weaponize it. When others lose themselves in panic, you remain calm. When others drown in despair, you remain steady. This calmness alone becomes intimidating because it signals that you cannot be provoked or manipulated. Think of the negotiator who shows no desperation. The rival cannot read him, cannot exploit him, cannot predict his next move. Or the warrior who does not flinch under insult or threat. His silence is more terrifying than any outburst. That is emotional detachment in action. It is not weakness. It is supreme strength. The average man destroys himself with emotion. He argues when he should stay silent. He confesses weakness when he should project strength. He lashes out when he should calculate. And each time, he exposes his hand to those who will use it against him. But you, if you master detachment, you become the architect, not the pawn. You decide what others see. You choose when to reveal, when to conceal. Your emotions become tools, not traps. Detach yourself, especially from three poisons. Anger, because it blinds judgment. Attachment, because it chains you to weakness. Ego, because it makes you predictable. Replace them with clarity, discipline, and silence. The man who cannot be provoked is feared. The man who cannot be seduced is respected. The man who cannot be broken by loss is unstoppable. Do not mistake this for apathy. You may care, you may love, you may even burn inside, but outwardly you are composed. Outwardly you are steel. That mask of control makes you formidable. It unnerves enemies, strengthens allies, and elevates you above the chaos. Remember, to rule yourself is the highest power. To detach from the chaos of emotions is to rule your destiny. Now write it below. My emotions serve me, I do not serve them. Engrave it into your soul, because this principle alone separates the rulers from the ruled. 8. Strategic patience and ruthless timing. Impatience is the silent executioner of ambition. Look around you. Most men die long before their final breath. They die when they rush into battles they were not prepared to fight. They die when they crave shortcuts instead of endurance. They die because they cannot wait. They want results now, validation now, power now. And so they run headfirst into traps designed for the impulsive. Strategic patience separates rulers from slaves. It separates predators from prey. Understand this. Patience is not weakness. It is stored power. It is the tightening of the bowstring before the arrow flies. It is the silence of a storm before it breaks the sky. Machiavelli wrote that fortune favors the bold, but do not mistake this for recklessness. Boldness without timing is suicide. The man who strikes too early wastes his energy, exposes his hand, and leaves himself open. The man who hesitates too long misses his moment, and opportunity slips into the hands of another. The master knows this. Victory belongs not to the strongest, but to the one who moves exactly when the time is right. Think of the predator. The lion does not sprint at every shadow. The eagle does not dive at every movement. They wait. They stalk. They calculate. They study the rhythm of their prey until the perfect opening reveals itself. Then, and only then, they strike. Swift, ruthless, unstoppable. You must learn to be the same. Do not mistake movement for progress. Do not mistake noise for power. A disciplined man understands that sometimes the most powerful move is no move at all. He allows his rivals to exhaust themselves. He lets his enemies reveal their strategies. He watches in silence while others burn their energy. Then, when they are blind, tired, and vulnerable, he acts with precision. Strategic patience shields you from manipulation. Impulsive men are easy prey. They are baited by insults, provoked by petty slights, drawn into distractions. They react before thinking, and in reacting, they lose. But the patient man does not take the bait. He does not react, he responds, and his response is calculated, devastating, and final. Timing is ruthless because it demands sacrifice. It demands that you delay gratification, that you hold your hunger, that you silence the voice inside that craves the quick reward. This discipline is painful, but it is the pain that builds power. Every moment you wait with purpose, you are sharpening your blade. Every temptation resisted is proof that you own yourself. And when the moment comes, you will unleash not just effort, but all the force you have stored in your restraint. You must also understand timing in speech. A fool speaks at every opportunity. He spills his thoughts, hoping to be heard, and in doing so, he loses his mystery. A man of power speaks only when silence no longer serves him. His words are rare, precise, and therefore unforgettable. Silence makes his voice heavier because when he finally speaks, people listen. Timing governs not just actions and words, but relationships. Know when to approach and when to withdraw. Know when to reveal and when to conceal. An ally gained too soon may betray you. An ally gained too late may already belong to another. Choose your moments like a general chooses battlefields, carefully, strategically, with foresight. This principle applies even to war itself, whether the war is fought with swords, strategies, or silent influence. Wars are not won by constant fighting. They are won by waiting for the decisive moment to crush the enemy in a single strike that cannot be answered. Patience is tension. Timing is release. Combined, they make you terrifying. Others will call you lucky when you win, but you will know the truth. It was not luck, it was calculation. Every step, every pause, every strike was deliberate. You created inevitability. Remember this. The impatient man looks desperate. The hesitant man looks weak. But the man who moves at the perfect moment looks unstoppable, as if destiny itself bends in his favor. That illusion, that aura of inevitability, is power. So train yourself to wait, to watch, to sharpen in silence. And when the moment comes, strike with such speed, such precision, such finality that the world never forgets your timing. Now, comment this phrase below. I wait as a predator. I strike as a storm. If you can write those words and live by them, you will already stand above 90% of men. 9. The relentless expansion of power. Power is never static. It either grows or it decays. The moment you stop advancing, the moment you stop expanding, your rivals begin to circle. They smell hesitation like blood in the water. They sense comfort as weakness. And soon, what you thought was secure begins to crumble. The man who wishes to become the strongest version of himself must understand. Expansion is not optional. It is survival. To remain powerful, you must always be building, always extending, always pressing outward, whether that expansion is in knowledge, influence, wealth, strength, or control. Machiavelli warned rulers against complacency. He saw clearly that kingdoms fall when leaders begin to rest. The same applies to your own life. If you stop growing, you are already dying. The man who halts his ambition becomes predictable. Predictable men are easy to defeat. So how do you expand? Not recklessly, but relentlessly. Each move must be intentional, each gain secure before the next is pursued. Power expands like a fortress wall, brick by brick, layer by layer, until it becomes impenetrable. First, expand your mind. Knowledge is the root of all strategy. Read the movements of history, the psychology of men, the tactics of war, the manipulations of politics. The ignorant man fights with his fists alone. The informed man fights with foresight, with influence, with invisible weapons that cut deeper than steel. Information is power, and in an age where most drown in distraction, the man who consumes strategically will always stand above. Second, expand your resources. Wealth, tools, skills, and systems, these are extensions of your will. Money alone is not power. but money is leverage. It amplifies your reach, buys your time, and secures your independence. Never depend on the generosity of others. Build what is yours and make it unassailable. Third, expand your influence. The man who can move others without lifting a finger wields greater power than the man who must constantly fight with his hands. Influence is created through reputation, through perception, through the invisible pull of your presence. This is why you must guard your image carefully. People must see you as capable, as dangerous, as someone whose approval is valuable and whose disapproval is costly. Build this aura, and you expand your reach far beyond your direct actions. Fourth, expand your strength. A man without physical discipline cannot command himself fully. Your body is your first fortress. Build it, harden it. Treat weakness in your flesh as an insult to your ambition. Not because vanity matters, but because resilience does. When others fall under strain, you will endure. Fifth, expand your dominion. Whatever field you enter, business, politics, art, or war, do not settle for small victories. Push borders outward. Seek control, not comfort. Learn to see the map of power in your domain and mark where you can advance. Even minor gains, when compounded, become empires. But beware, expansion must be relentless, not reckless. Many men grow too fast, without foundation, and their empire collapses under its own weight. You must expand like a strategist, not like a fool chasing glory. Secure each gain before moving forward. Fortify each position before seeking the next. Expansion also demands ruthlessness. You will face opposition. Rivals will try to block you. Parasites will attempt to drain you. Enemies will plot against you. You cannot expand by being liked. You expand by being too formidable to resist. Cut away those who weaken you, neutralize those who threaten you, and absorb those who can serve your mission. This principle applies not only externally, but internally. Expansion of power also means expansion of self. You must constantly evolve. If who you are today looks the same as who you were last year, you are stagnant. And stagnation is death. Consider this. Rome did not become an empire by standing still. It expanded relentlessly, absorbing, adapting, conquering. And yet, when it stopped expanding, when comfort rotted its leaders, it collapsed. The same fate awaits any man who grows soft. You must treat your ambition like a living thing. Feed it, strengthen it, push its boundaries constantly. Never allow yourself to think, "I have arrived." The moment you believe you have reached the summit, another man begins climbing past you. Relentless expansion does not mean chaos. It means momentum. A steady, inevitable push forward that does not stop. Even when obstacles rise, you find new angles, new tactics, new paths. Like water, you carve through stone, persistent, unstoppable. And with every expansion, your aura changes. People sense it. They feel your forward momentum. They realize you cannot be contained. This perception alone becomes power. Men follow the man who expands. Women respect the man who builds. Rivals fear the man who never stops advancing. But remember, expansion requires enemies. Without resistance, there is no conquest. Without rivals, there is no proving ground. Do not fear opposition. Use it. Each challenge sharpens you. Each rival forces you to grow. The man without enemies stagnates. The man with enemies expands. So ask yourself, where are you expanding now? Where are you pushing boundaries? Where are you breaking limits? If you cannot answer, you are falling behind. Comment this phrase below. My power expands without end. Write it and let it anchor into your mind. Because in the game of life, expansion is the only guarantee of survival. 10. The untouchable legacy. All strength, all discipline, all strategy must lead somewhere. Every principle, every battle, every sacrifice converges toward one outcome: legacy. Power that dies with you was never power at all. It was temporary noise, a spark that flickered out in the wind. True power outlives you. True power is remembered. Machiavelli understood this well. Rulers rise and fall, but the ones who shaped history did so not because they lived, but because their influence continued long after their deaths. The strongest version of yourself is not measured by fleeting victories, but by the imprint you carve into the world. Ask yourself, what will remain when you are gone? Will your name vanish into dust, forgotten like the millions who lived small, comfortable lives? Or will your name carry weight? Will it echo in the halls of time, spoken with caution, respect, or even fear? Legacy is not built on luck. It is engineered. It is the product of ruthless consistency, of clarity of purpose, of relentless expansion. Legacy is the shadow your power casts on generations. It is the fortress you construct, not of stone, but of influence, reputation, and indestructible principles. You must decide what that fortress looks like. Will it be an empire of wealth, an empire of ideas, an empire of power that reshapes the very people who come after you? Weak men think only of their pleasures, their fleeting comforts. Strong men think in centuries. Strong men build so that even when their bodies are gone, their presence remains unavoidable. Understand this: legacy requires enemies as much as it requires allies. Without opposition, no man leaves a mark worth remembering. Alexander was great because he conquered. Caesar was remembered because he expanded Rome beyond its limits. Machiavelli was immortalized not for pleasing people, but for revealing the brutal truths rulers did not want to hear. Each was opposed, each was hated, and that hatred only made their legacy stronger. The mistake of the weak is to seek to be liked. Being liked dies with you. Being respected, being feared, being remembered, that endures. To build legacy, you must live deliberately. Every decision becomes a brick in your monument. Every word you speak, every action you take, adds or subtracts from the shadow you cast. Most waste their lives in triviality, leaving nothing. Do not be most men. Every day is a chance to etch your name deeper into the stone of eternity. Legacy also requires sacrifice. Comfort will tempt you to slow down. Ease will whisper that you have done enough. But legacy demands more. Legacy demands you bleed for something greater than yourself. To build it, you must outlast fatigue, outlast mediocrity, outlast the urge to rest when there is work left undone. Ask yourself, who will carry your name forward? Will men speak of you as an example? Will others model their strength after yours? Or will you vanish, forgotten, another faceless ghost swallowed by time? You must build not just for yourself, but for the echo. Build so that your name commands weight in conversations long after your voice is gone. Build so that your image burns itself into memory. Build so that even those who hate you cannot erase you. That is the untouchable legacy. And here is the paradox. Legacy requires detachment. You cannot beg for remembrance. You cannot force your name into history through desperation. Legacy is created by living with such force, such precision, such impact, that remembrance becomes inevitable. It is not asked for, it is demanded. Your legacy must be built on mastery of the timeless principles: self-control, clarity of purpose, perception, deception, discipline, fear and respect, emotional detachment, patience and expansion. All converge here in the 10th principle. Without legacy, the others are wasted. With legacy, the others become immortal. Do not mistake legacy for monuments or wealth alone. Those crumble, those decay. Legacy is the unseen power that survives after the body is gone. It is the philosophy, the reputation, the impact on those who come after. A true legacy does not need your presence. It thrives without you. So decide today, what will they remember? Will they remember a man who sought comfort, who blended into the background? Or will they remember a man who walked through fire, who bent the world to his will, who left behind something impossible to erase? Understand this. Your time is limited. Every second wasted is a brick stolen from your monument. Build while you breathe, expand while you live. Harden your will until nothing can stop the construction of your legacy. Because one day your body will fall, but your shadow does not have to. Comment this now. My legacy will outlive me. Write it and mean it. Because if you can live by it, you will already stand among the rare few destined to be remembered. And if this message struck you, if it ignited something inside you, then your work is not done. Your transformation has only begun. Subscribe to Mental Fort, turn on notifications, and walk with me as we build the untouchable fortress of the mind. This is your call. Do not waste it.